I'm psychologically affected because the former facilitator is observing me. Okay, guys, so number one, again, allow us to repeat what we said. Thank you for being here. Now I say on behalf of the region, and the idea of convening this meeting is it was the meeting one that we just finished. I think it was good and nice, and to take advantage to think of the region. So we are not necessarily from all the nations of the region, but here we are. So it doesn't matter what nation you belong to or what port you belong to. We'll try to have an exercise as a region. So we also enlarge our vision. So in this sense, we are looking now into the region. So how does this meeting, as you know, I think this is the third attempt. The first one pandemic, second one, I think it was June, and this one. So anyway, here we are. Thank you for being here. The nations that are not here are Singapore. Father said no. Father John said no because of previous commitments. Hong Kong, visa problem. Quarantine. Taiwan, the same. Korea, the same. Myanmar, no. Malaysia, unfortunately, we are very weak, not to say next to zero. And Indonesia. So that is our region. We have nobody in Indonesia, knowing all the problems with fishers and seafarers. When I say we, that means who are the we? We, Stella Maris. We, Stella Maris. That's why, whatever. We are happy that we have Vietnam. When Father goes back, he has a huge responsibility because it is not enough to attend the meeting, it is to do something more. Okay? So for today, the faces are the same, except for that lady that she was the one sending you everything. So whatever you receive from Joy, that is Joy.
Joy, yeah.
So Joy, you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Joy Fidayat Maitan, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and what do I do apart from collaborating with Father Paulo on the School of Brilliance? I teach and I write. That's all I can say. Thank you very much, and to the others, welcome to the Philippines.
Thank you. So that is what I said, without staff we can't do anything. And Deacon Doug came to me with a very bad question. Father Paul, what do you really do? So he doubts that I work, and I think you are right. Like other chaplains. So if you will agree, it is like this. I was telling Joy that those, flip chart papers there, they represent our work. Now, if anybody feels like reporting, the idea was send your report to us and then we share. Some of you did, some of you didn't. It doesn't matter, it is okay. Perhaps maximizing what the techniques of Stefano, maximizing these two flip charts, what we can do is this. We just follow our suggestions. So, at the end of the day, we are looking to ourselves and the chaplains. It is useless that we take care of the seafarers, right? If we don't care about ourselves. The word used during the meeting is burn out. We burn out. I do not know about you, but me, at certain point we get sick and tired of running. So let us try to look into these both sides. We also take care of ourselves. For the newcomers, perhaps I sound bad, but for those who are going down, retirement age, it is so beautiful, we know what we mean. So may we suggest this? We will begin with the 3 questions, one by one. And we can use the flip charts. We just write. The question number 1 is this. If you want to make a report, tell us. But it would be better that we write what are, or if you wish, what were the 5 main challenges we faced during the pandemic. So the pandemic begins whatever day your government said we shut down until now, until today. That's just to have a time frame. That is the pandemic. What are the 5 main challenges? Then we will see, are there commonalities, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So can we invite Thailand to write there the 5 main challenges? We allow Korean to write here, and then we get the local delegates. This was not really our whatever, but we will just write your 5. Then the next 2, let us get Japan. Who else is not from the Philippines? Vietnam. So you think no challenges. You just write there, Father, no challenges. Or if you want, it's okay. We understand. So we get you, Doc.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of looking into Europe.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we go Philippines, port by port. Huh? Okay. While they are writing, Sister Malik suggested that we copy what we did before. Whatever is there, okay, whatever is there, no need to repeat. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so then we can have a discussion. If you notice, the number 1 is the same.
Yeah. Okay, Father, can you read your 5, please?
We are not able to visit customs and the port in certain times. And number 2, not able to meet our supporters because we normally monthly gatherings, but we don't allow any center And number 3, not able to see the seafarers at the port because they cannot come out and we cannot come up. And number 4, online mass settings. It was challenge because anyway we try to see them not physically but by virtually. So but we have to set up a little room and say mass. And then we are allowed to join the mass. We say mass virtually, and then when Holy Communion, Eucharistic time, we going out and outside we distribute Holy Communion. It was very just tired. And number 5, cooperating with ITF was a very challenge at that time. Thank you.
Okay, Father, thank you very much. We listen from the 5 from Thailand.
That is our port is locked down, and we cannot enter to the port. And the seafarer also don't have shore, cannot come shore. And cruise ship crisis complain to my Facebook, my messenger, because they over the contract. That the company although the contract, the second one is allowed 1.5 years without provision from the seafarer, and they feel they have forced labor on the board. And the port authority also, this one, not allowed.
It's like the same time, but it's a seriously into the port and on board and during the time. Even we follow ISPS list, international protocol, but the port authority and the quarantine not, how to say, they're not allowed to us to do to our ship is
And the quarantine, the fisherman was affected with the COVID, and the port authority not allow they come shore to treatment or something. They just quarantine in the fishing vessel in the anchorage without any medicine. So we have to send in the medicine, and we try to work with the ship owner side to get vaccine for the fisherman. Finally, we get vaccine because vaccine is one side of. I thought one side is the forced labor, because if you did not have vaccine, you cannot go anywhere. When the vessel arrives to the port, if authority asks if you get vaccine, you cannot come shore. This is a problem in my point. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you, Thailand. These were the 5 main challenges during pandemic. Japan first. What would be your additions there?
It's almost the same, except. So just addition, no need to write.
No, you write. If ever you have, why not? Black na lang kayo? Anywhere.
Hello. You may wish to tick if you've got the same one.
Edwin, you can read all of them and you write the additions.
So the ship visiting was stopped.
That's it.
So it's
You tick ship visit. Just tick.
no permit to the port. But yeah, not able to see. So no activity was made during the entire period of pandemic. So the office was closed, stopped. No, because practically our work revolves on visiting, so it was closed. Well, actually, it's not just our office. Practically everybody has closed. And it's a pity that we cannot share with any not working. We have nothing to share, no information. And we are feeling lost because right now the Stella Maris office operates under the office of Caritas Tokyo, which is also under restructuring.
Pero is this before or now?
Even before. The restructuring started last year, but until now, it has not finished.
So it comes back later as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's about it.
So the last one is going to be a common challenge for 3.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So thank you, Japan. Let's see any interpreter from Scotland. He's a deacon. No, deacon. Managed person. Handsome. Permanent deacon.
Challenge. Finances. The UK, 35% of their finances is done by the church through a See Sunday collection. Churches were closed, no cash. 2 years, difficult times. Even now, the churches are not as full as they were. Probably 50% of people coming back. Elderly still scared. Cash. So it's a case of trying to get them back into the church, get the collection started again. Communication. A lot of our ship visitors decided not to come back. One of the good things that we did was just kept having fortnightly online meetings with them. Communication.
Go ahead.
If you don't communicate with your people, they don't think it's worthwhile being part of what we are. And that's why we are communicating here. You are communicating as Asia, we communicate as Europe. We will all be communicating together. So it's important to keep my ship visitors going. I hear a lot, and it's probably I hear a lot of things about centres. I don't have a centre. My centre is my vehicle. I see more people when I go onto a ship, or when I couldn't get on some ships I couldn't get onto, I stood at the side and I communicated with the guys if they needed something. So my vehicle is my centre. I have everything in my vehicle. It's the most important tool for me because I can see 20 people on a ship. Whereas when I was part of a centre, the guys were too busy to come to the centre. I maybe saw one guy. I could be sitting there for 4 hours. Things change, and it changes regularly, and I have got to change. I have got to change to meet the seafarers' needs. So that's my centre is my vehicle, and I go from ship to ship to ship to ship. I would say that's the rest of the items. We've all had problems.
Okay. So thank you, deacon. For those who don't know, he is a deacon. Yes, but
I just would like to ask this time, because the one that Father Edwin presented is our dilemma right now in the Stella Maris Tokyo.
the right now is the second question.
No, it's not. Still with one. With the number.
Still one?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I wanted also to bring the concern of our other Stella Maris partners in Japan, other parts of Japan, because mostly of our volunteers are elderly. So their concerns is they're scared of the fear of being in present
Yeah.
or to join. the volunteer work in Stella Maris, when the court already allows us to do the ship visitation.
So during the pandemic,
Yes, that's during the pandemic.
they like sort of disappeared.
Yes, they are, yeah.
And
The
this
fear of being get infected.
this is this now as well.
Yes.
So then in the next question, this issue was back is. Okay. So in this we are talking about the 5 main concerns. The pandemic began in our centers until today. We can see trends already. Vietnam, do you want to say anything or zero?
For me, it's lucky medicine.
Huh?
Medicine.
But the medicine that you had, were you providing to the seafarers and fishers? The fishers. During the pandemic, you lacked medicine. You
I
mean
bought a lot, but I said not enough.
medicine, huh?
Yeah, medicine.
Not vaccine.
Not medicine.
Oh, Joya, you write the idea. Okay. Sorry, from the foreign delegates, quote unquote. I don't know, John. If you have anything that you noticed in UK in terms of that is not yet here or something that you want really to validate.
I have the second bit, definitely. No, I think obviously not being a chaplain as such, but working in central office, it's a lot of what's been said there. The access to the loss of our finances, it had a huge impact. It meant, well, for me in particular, it was a big shift in how I work and where I work. Not being able to speak to our supporters was definitely an issue and a challenge. And the other challenge was the speed of change. Everything was happening so quickly that you couldn't plan or prepare. Everything was a reaction, which created a lot of stress for everybody. I'm sure it's the same throughout, but it was the speed of change was a big challenge.
Okay. So since the majority are from the Philippines, let's just be patient, Nala. The delegates from the Philippines, whoever wants to come here can ask please, or we add here. If you have the 5, you can read, and then if not, we just add.
Because I'm not good in writing, so Father will write it.
Oh. Okay. So anybody else wants to write here? Oh, we are going to write what is not there, huh? Let us not repeat. What we write what we didn't say before. Anybody else?
Okay, let's see what this Father is writing.
Now, well, if nobody moves, let us move like this. Monsignor, you have additions there?
First challenge mobility. That you go to lockdown. You cannot move. Mobility.
Okay, go ahead, Lucia.
Number of seafarers not getting their job contract.
Go ahead.
Seafarers were stranded all over the world.
Go ahead.
Seafarers not able to accomplish their needed documents. And families who were affected due to long separation of stranded seafarers were also affected financially. Though we cannot move, but we continued our Eucharistic celebration through live stream, and it reached as far as Europe every day. We had Mass.
No, this belongs to whom? Sister, please. Alaminos. Allow her to present Alaminos.
For the diocese of Alaminos, lack of financial assistance. Then second, failure to provide spiritual and emotional needs. Then difficulty to deliver aids. Then fear of getting infected with COVID.
Okay, thank you, Alaminos. Monsignor, anything else from Cagayan, Father? Okay.
I will check na lang.
Boronga.
Mobility, movements were limited. Seafarers had no job. And then fear of getting infected. Difficulty to deliver aids because they were not allowed to move around. And then this one.
Wow, impressive. Sandali, sister, you were about to talk before?
No, I just want to add, Father,
I told you, Peter.
all the rest is there.
Okay, for PTA stands for Philippines
Port Authority.
Port Authority. It's our port authority in the Philippines. Most Reverend Father Bompa.
For me, Father, it's just like, I didn't have
Father,
to go there.
you think?
Oh, it's about the
No, Father, please.
The challenge is
some exercise. Just
death and repatriation.
see?
Death and repatriation of the solid remains. I mean, that they do not want to accept ashes. It
So you
should be.
have death and repatriation.
Because the because we want to have the solid body, not the ashes.
That's from the perspective of the family.
Yeah.
That is nice. Let's do this. We put the issues here, then we have discussion, and then we will see. Next, please, Davao. I don't know, we lost the law.
bottom. Father Paulo, at the bottom. No.
Itong training slots para kanino?
Sa mga seafarers,
Ah, so
because
seafarers.
50%, so they had a hard time getting
Seafarers.
seafarers.
That's it. See, because she mentioned they do some trainings in Davao to other people, so this is specifically to seafarers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lucina, for Davao. Going to the left, okay, Father John.
Everything has been
Itik mo na lang. Take mo na lang. I'm sure you will not.
No. But the problem is still funds at the height of the pandemic. Funds. Financial assistance. Financial. For our.
This is lack of funds from the center.
For the center. And then, of course, the ship visitation has been stopped.
Doon sa kabila.
It is in the other side of the group. Because that is for ship visitation.
But of course, at the height of the pandemic, we were able to find ways also to reach out our seafarers. So like for example, since we have plenty of stranded seafarers coming abroad, from abroad, no? They have been stranded in Cebu, so we're able to at least visit them at the lobby of their hotels, apartments, and give them food also. So at the same time, we became part of the one-stop shop for crude sales.
Just to help us, the Philippines opened 11 crew change hubs. The first one was in the Diocese of Bishop Stud. That was the first one.
So I feel guilty also of having I've been giving less attention to local seafarers. Local seafarers, that is domestic. And then, of course, at the height of the pandemic, the rest of my staff, had stopped working also. So they're working at home. So present at the center, the driver and me, and the canteen. So only 3, I think. So lack of manpower to deliver our services. And then lastly, seafarers from different dioceses and cities and provinces, because they've been asking us if there is Stella Maris in their respective place. So Cebu has been catering also to cases of seafarers from other provinces due to the absence of Stella Maris in their places. So we're able to give them also assistance. Instead of giving to our Cebuano seafarers, we share also to others in the provinces.
So just assistance
to seafarers
from other provinces.
Yeah.
from Cebu.
It's written out.
Father, please, exercise is part of our game. Kaliwete pa siya, ha?
Failure to provide spiritual and emotional needs because our programs were stopped, especially for the families, family visitation, staff, also CPA, no visitation policy. Then for local seafarers, we're not able to help due to lack of funds. Those were stranded in our ports. That's all.
Okay, Father, thank you for asking. Second to the last, please, Father.
I think they already mentioned. So I will just lack of financial assistance, the difficulty to deliver aids, mobility, seafarers, no job, and stranded. I think that's all.
Okay, Father, thank you very much. My 5R. My God, you notice malabo? Very blurred, but it's okay. My fear number one, I say mine because it was with the staff. The fear of shutting down the center. It was the first time ever in my life I personally wish not to have a center. The van is a better proposition or a container. The second one, we, like some of you, very worried about the health of the beneficiaries and the health of the staff. I will just write the line, Joy. Health of the beneficiaries, the seafarers. Well, as I said there, guys, the two staff there, the two here and myself, because the other center, they went home. Basically, we stay 120 days. Actually, 90 days, I had the key of the padlock in my pocket. So you imagine, no? It really. We have white hair, but the fear was there. Common understanding, depleted financial resources. I like this one. Somebody wrote here, every day was what is going to be the end of the day. We never knew. What is the policy right now? A, tonight, B. And our guys there, my God. And then honestly, Stella Maris Manila had no plan B. We just had plan A. The A is there. Now we are thinking of how about having a plan B? Example na lang, if there is an earthquake, what do we do with the 100 seafarers in our centers? It triggered that idea, and I am not a parish priest, but I don't think it's different from a parish. What is Stella Maris Manila plan B? There is none. So this is for the pandemic. Okay? Bruno, do you want to add anything?
There's not much of other means. That was the report that was coming out, was coming in from all the different parts of the world. I think what we can add is the long-standing effect of the pandemic. Like there is the long COVID, I think there is the long effect of the pandemic that many seafarers in many ports around the world, they cannot come ashore, and that's, I think, is a big issue that should be considered. And I think the other things is that the pandemic changed our way of doing the ministry, and it will be interesting to explore that how the pandemic has changed our ministry, our way of doing the ministry, and what kind of influence this will have on the future. Because I think nothing will be like before. So how are we preparing Stella Maris for the future? Are we trying to continue to go on the same way because we were used to do that, but we are realizing that things are not working anymore? Should we continue to rely on volunteers when volunteers are old, they cannot come or anything? Because until now, I would say 90% of our ministry was based on volunteer. Now it's no longer possible. So what are we going to do? And also it was mentioned by Stefano yesterday, often you cannot rely on volunteers unless you have a big group of volunteers, because you can go to a volunteer and say, could you please do this, there is an emergency, and he says, sorry, I have other things to do. So if you have a big group of volunteers, you can go to another volunteer and ask. But if the number of people that are volunteering at your center are small, you cannot do that. But also one of the questions, should we, I don't know if the correct expression, professionalize our ministry? Should prepare the people, train the people? Should we make the ministry a job so we can pay a ship visitor, we can pay a volunteer so he can do the job and support his family? Because also what happened often, and I can tell you, in some places, you train people, you prepare people, you give a salary, but because the salary is small, once they have better opportunity, they leave Stella Maris. So these are all questions that, for me, are coming out of the pandemic. These are the problem or the question that the pandemic bring to us now.
Perhaps, Bruno, your last part it is part of the third point. So this is already a hint how we are going to see ourselves. Stefano was saying yesterday, in year 2035. I think we have to think, how do we see ourselves in January of next year? We cannot wait 2035. So let us keep in mind those initial ideas. Okay, any addition there? Yes, John.
Can I ask, any positives? Is there anything that's changed during the pandemic?
We are still in the period, or the 5 main challenges during the pandemic. What did we feel there? In my opinion, if we can clearly identify as we are doing, then the next 2 questions, they are just consequence of that. So what were the challenges that we had from the day the Philippines locked down on March 16 until basically March 1 of this year, more or less? How was that? I do not know your nations. So what is there?
I think one of the things was even the chaplain felt isolated. He wasn't doing his job. And he felt guilty because he wasn't doing his job. So I think a network of, we held monthly Zoom meetings with the chaplains in the UK to remind them that we're still here. We're all still part of Stella Maris.
Back to you, John.
Sorry?
Any addition there? Then bring back your agenda. Okay? Anything there that we can add? Who among us tested positive? So disappointing. So disappointing. Who tested COVID-19 positive? Please raise your hand.
Such a negative group.
Oh my God, this is very negative. We are not positive in life. Bruno?
Yeah.
Monsignor? Sister?
Sister test.
Joy? To myself. Now, we are laughing, but just that's what I'm saying. Who tested positive before vaccine? Before the vaccine was released? Before, huh?
Before.
You tested positive?
Before vaccine.
Huh?
In Rome. Negative.
You tested positive or negative?
Before the vaccine.
Before the vaccine.
So, before the vaccine, you also, Monsignor? You also. I tell you, it's a different feeling, Monsignor. That if we test now and we are positive, who cares? So, I personally, I really think what we have said about this, about this. I did test positive because I have a problem in the nose, and the doctor said just come over, but extremely overconfident. Half an hour before going to the doctor, I said, "Oh my God, I need the paper." When I printed the paper, positive. So I went home. I told the three fathers, "Oh guys, I really apologize, but I test. I'm positive." The fathers were like rats. Number one. Number two, the people that I was working with, all of them went to the hospital to have, let's test ourselves. But that was wrong. They should have waited 2 or 3 days. You see?
Yes.
And the next one, then we had our beautiful life. You are there, I am here. You enter, I go out. I talk about myself because honestly, we have for me, it's a nice house. Now you imagine this guy. Imagine this guy having a limited house, probability is one toilet in the house. In our case, we have the government came to see me. They wanted to bring me to the facility, but we showed, oh, this is my room, this is my toilet, this is what I'm going to live for 17 days. All right, they allow me to stay there. Now imagine a fisher, a seafarer, under the same circumstance. And what you said, Doug, imagine the chaplain not being able to see or communicate. So for our reflection, that's why, guys, we take care of ourselves. So in December of last year, and please do not go out and say this, because you are trying to validate the data. So what happened to the banning agencies in the Philippines, one of the sectors, no? When it comes to during pandemic? So one boy, he was asked to isolate himself because in those days, before you go on board, you are isolated for 14 days. On the 12th day, you have swab test. Should you test negative, you go on board. Should you be joining in Korea, there was another 14 days. All right? Japan, until now. Pero back to the Philippines, somewhere there, in the area where we went, there was this boy that he was on quarantine for 62 days.
Wow.
Any reason? The ship did not dock. The plane was changed. It never tested positive, etc., etc. Day 62, lunchtime, the breakfast was still in the door. So the guys got alarmed. How come? They knocked at the door. They broke into the place. He committed suicide. Now, I say this not because whatsoever, but for those who have been isolated, like I am a man, but I think in those days I am like a chicken. It is not enough. That's why the role of the chaplain, we take care of ourselves, guys, otherwise we go nowhere. So what was there during quarantine? The guys from the other one, a lot of fear. Am I right? A lot of fear. Now I as the chaplain, taking care of the 3 centers in theory via message. Oh, Father Paolo. And then I was there, oh my God, am I going to die? I have this blessed quarantine. I have this blessed virus. Then another thing that the seafarers in our centers, in those days we prayed the rosary every evening. Now no more. Now no more. Why? Because every evening when we had the crisis, they were there. So we blessed the passport, the candles, whatever you can think of, the cell phone. We made big crosses, bless, I shared them. But then I stopped. Now the rosary is once a week. How many attend? In those days, we had online masses, the centers in the Philippines. Remember? Remember, John? We had masses with the guy there in... Yeah, they were, I can't remember. Simbang Gabi. Now the question is this. Pandemic period. Did the fear strengthen our faith? That is number 1 of Stella Maris, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, Father.
Can we add also the administration of the sacrament, especially the sacrament of the anointing of the sick? Because even if the sick person is not COVID, the seaman is not COVID, but is hospitalized, so we really cannot go to the hospital.
During the COVID pandemic period, my vehicle was used as a confessionary. It was driven onto the port, cleansed, and any seafarer that wanted to have confession, I organised a priest to come. He sat in the front of the vehicle, confessionary sat in the back, and then we cleansed the back again, and someone else. The Filipinos were absolutely delighted in getting confession, the sacraments. So we have got to adapt to the situation.
We also went to confession. For those who know Christ the King, we are interesting human beings, eh? You want to add something, Father? Okay, so guys, this is during pandemic. Anybody wants to add anything else? Or to comment on this? Because this is the way we felt. I think all the elements are there, about government, centers, money, we, etc. Am I right? As I said, if we are clear here, the next 2 will give us direction. By all means, we have to keep in mind what is there, what we have written. All right? So, number 1 is finished. Let us tackle the second one, or we have a short break. Break?
10 minutes.
15. Okay. Let's come back 4:15.
Okay.
Thank you.
Artistahin.
Very clear.
Wow.
We have to use this all the time. This is it.
Japan? Japan is unbelievable. This is hundreds of miles everywhere. Very clear, very clear.
Tokyo, Europe Customs, nakukuha kami ng permit para visit.
We cannot show you the customs experience.
Nakuha namin kung ano yung bisita namin nakalagay dito. Hindi kami pwede magbisita sa hindi nakalagay na mga pangalan ng mga barko. Let's go.
Kami sila, yung isang permit o near the limit, sila bawat visit.
Okay, so kakagaling lang namin dito sa Aoi Port, isa sa mga port ng Tokyo, kasi marami ito eh. So, sinikap namin na pumasok, pero yung mga nakalista na mga barko ay wala. Sapagkat hindi namin alam ang barko nung una kung saan sila nakadak. Ang nalaman namin ngayon na sa Oy, na mas malayo. We need a car to go there. So, balik na lang kami, but we learned so many things from this visit. Isa sa mga nalaman namin na hindi ka basta-basta pumunta na hindi mo alam ang pangalan ng barko. Kasi ang kung ano lang nakalagay dito na mga barko, yun ang pwede mong akyatin. Dito isa lang ang pumasok na barko ngayong araw. At wala dito sa mga nakalista. Ang mga nakalista dito sa mas malayo na port. Kaya alas 3:30 na. So, uwi na lang muna kami. Next time na lang kami mabalik, hanapin namin ulit. At marami kaming natutunan because this really from the scratch. Hindi kami, unlike before na sumasama lang ako dun sa mas marunong. Kaya, sige.
Bye-bye.
Palayo. Kailangan mo talaga ng sasakyan. Pero dito, lagi namin nilalakad ito. Ang mainit kung summer, malamig kung winter. So, ayan. Yung lugar na ito, dito kami kumakain kapag naabutan ng tanghalian. Kasi napakamura. For less than $10, marami ka nang makakain. At ito yung kainan talaga ng mga port workers. So dito sila pumupunta. Siguro subsidized, baka lang subsidized siya ng port area. Ayan.
Our office right now, we are under the Catholic Cup International Center, but this center is operating actually under Caritas Tokyo. So the office of Stella Maris Tokyo will be operating eventually under Caritas. So I will show you where I am holding office. So this is our office. Currently, this is the Catholic Tokyo International Center, and it will be operating under the Caritas Tokyo. So I'll show you where we are holding office. Where I've been working under the Catholic Tokyo International for the past 8 years. My home office here. This is my office. So practically we don't really have enough space where we can handle workforce Stella Maris. So we're waiting until about, hopefully within this year, to move into a new place, new location. It's just around the corner. And from there, we probably can really operate more independently and have more space to develop the ministry for the years. So,
Everybody paid attention to the actor, but how about the camera woman?
The camera woman, the videographer is
Who was the camera woman there? Ikaw ba?
There is one thing, because also Edwin mentioned it yesterday and he was repeating it today, they will end up operating under Caritas. But the point is, there is a motu proprio of the Pope. And the motu proprio of the Pope doesn't say that Stella Maris has to work under Caritas. It says that Stella Maris should operate as under the Bishop Conference with a Bishop Promoter and other things. And I think when these things happen, you should bring up this document and says, this is the document of a Pope, that he became a saint. Could you please read it and see what he says? Because that's the point. If we don't teach them, because most probably nobody knows about the Stella Maris motu proprio among the bishop and other things. So somebody wake up in the morning and they have to do the restructuring and everything, besides even Caritas Internationalis is under commissari now in Rome. So, and tell them, look, this is what you should do, not what somebody thinks. So this is not only for Edwin and in Japan, but also for the other places.
Yes.
At least you say it. Of course, the Bishop Conference, they might still do what they want, but at least you have told them. So,
actually, I told them about it.
Bring the documents.
Yeah, but still, this is how they restructure it.
But that's not fair. Anyway, I don't know what to say. We have to present our case and say, sorry, this is not the point. This is not the way that things should be done.
Could someone actually write something that can be given to the chaplains so they can understand that?
I think, is that all right if we remain in this issue motu proprio?
Yeah.
Because that is number 3. There is already another one for us to look into. Are we aware there is a Stella Maris motu proprio? Are we aware?
Yes.
Who is not aware? Not aware. Okay, this is very good sign. We know the motu proprio. Perhaps, I don't know, John, I was sharing this idea with Stefano before. Perhaps we should have all what is there on the wall and the motu proprio in a printout way. And then when we go to the bishop, Eccellenza, The bishop is going to get that motto proprio and throw that into the trash bin. It's all right. Okay. For us, it can be online. But I think I don't know, consider this, to have the printout as Stella Maris, that we can make our cause known. The same, Father, yesterday we are lucky to have Bishop Stood in the Philippines. Opinion mentioned the bishop in the conference bishops there in Thailand, and the others that are not here. We have a document to say, this is what we stand for. That is what we die for. So it's also part of us to make Stella Maris more known, including the motto proprio, because it's very clear. The bishops, in theory, no? But then I personally feel that every chaplaincy, every chaplain has to deal with the local situation, because the local reality differs from place to place. I think what should not be different is the idea of Stella Maris. But then how do I implement this? Sometimes is what it is. I don't know. We are talking to Stefano before. All these papers that are on the wall, what is next? How can this return to us in a manner that we can even empower our staff?
I think that's point number 3 for later on.
Okay. All right. So can we go to this? So Father Edwin began. Father Edwin already said, this is a mixture of where you are now and where we are going to be. Am I right? Edwin, every time you go to the port, you need
We have to go through the Bureau of Customs of Tokyo.
the way you showed every time.
Yes. And we have to prove to the government, at least for 1 year, that we are constantly going there, so that they can issue us eventually a permanent card or permit that would allow you to go there for a year.
Okay.
And then if there's no question, you can renew it the following year. And I think that is the same practice with
Same situation.
Same.
Korea.
How is in Vietnam? Sorry, Thailand.
We have trapped 1 year.
1 year. All right. In the Philippines,
We have not anymore asked the customs, only the port authority, Cebu Port Authority on our part.
but I think the bottom line there is that we have to align with the new requirements. We have to comply with the port's requirements. The Philippines, before it worked a lot by friendship. By whom do I know? No more. No more. So let's keep it in mind. All right, so Tokyo was the first one. Can we go to Korea? What are the 3 challenges you are facing now, Father? Then Thailand?
Right now.
I'm sorry, maybe before I have actually 3.
Oh, you have additional 3, okay.
And I just I'll just read it probably.
No, you're right. Then because we keep the record.
So the job is part-time for me. It's additional work for my permanent work as the kind of in charge of the migrants for the English speaking. So this is just an additional work. So being part-time, there's no enough time to develop our own ministry. And this, however, is understandable considering the very reality of the local church. The next one is right now there is a restructuring, as I have mentioned, of the office. That's where that I was saying under Caritas. Before we were working as the Catholic Tokyo International Center, but this will eventually probably erased. But there's a lot of struggle within the organization. So the work itself is postponed. It started last year, and they were saying that by January we're going to have a new office and that will be Caritas. But it's already September and still nothing happened. And of course, the last one is the Bureau of Customs policy. The Bureau of Customs. Yes. Okay. So,
please, Adriana. Oh, guys, before I forget again, if you are reading something that we don't have, please send it, because you'll make the minutes and then share with us as written, including those who are not here.
so I have already mentioned in the presentation that the absence of our own physical independent office causes also our difficulty to bring in volunteers. And there is also, the office is being offered right now, but it is being occupied by another priest. So we have to wait. So they say that within this year. So I think that's about it.
Okay. So thank you, Japan. May we invite Korea, please? South Korea, South, otherwise we are politically wrong.
Okay, similar thing there. Okay. It's a very important thing is so in South Korea, the same situation in Japan. We really desire to get the full-time access card. Otherwise, customs visiting about 20 minutes to port, heavy traffic, exhausted, done. But next morning, the same situation. And number two, get more supporters. So during the pandemic, supporters down, and actually the budget, diocese not financially help us, so we have to get more supporters, and from supporters we get a budget, and we can share more gifts. So it's a challenge. And staff and volunteers ability of speaking in English, because at the port, the generally speaking, from Europe or Asia, they use English. But Korean people, we studying hard for English in the school, middle school and also university. But it's a tick, reading, tick, academic way, not speaking the way. So this is my challenge for, we have one staff and several volunteers. And I want to try to this staff to improve her ability of speaking English. So that reason why I brought the staff to go to Glasgow, and then I want to show more something wider view. Stella is not only in Chan, in the world. Thank you.
Father, here, when this is full-time access card, like entering the port.
Yes.
Like Japan.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
So basically, access to the port, supporters, and in their case, the challenge of English.
Yeah.
Okay. In my case, I thank Erlene because he speaks Japanese. Because if we have to wait for a Japanese volunteer, then it will take more time because they are elderly. So Erlyn really does a lot of help to me because of my language problem.
Thank you. Thailand?
At the moment, we face difficult to contact to entering the method of government official in Port Authority because of their state of have to how to say that it's isolate. And also now some crew members member national asking for the possibility of getting vaccination in Bengal, Thai. But we asked to the quarantine. The Thai authority not allowed to other nationality of the sector, just only for Thai. So one difficult to explain to the sector. And also, even severe is illness, seriously illness, we request to the quarantine, severe have to go into the hospital. But even though we try with the agency, but Thai government, it's under the authority of the quarantine, they are not allowed to severe go into the hospital we bring to the silver, it cannot be not allowed. So it's a very big challenge to us right now. We face. It's a granting program also the Thai government authority. We don't know how we have to negotiate with them. And even though we say that we request to the agency, the shipping agent, they follow to us. We by ourselves also we follow all the the government official what they talk to us, but that's only we request to the serious illness because of they send it to us to the email request to need to go into the hospital. But agency it's not powerfully to talk to the quarantine. But we are also not powerfully to talk to the quarantine official. But we know each other in Bengal, I think. So that's why. So we have to wait 2 days from the letter from the quarantine. It's so difficult to bring to the safer into the hospital. I remember it's a lot, and that's happened. It's a Filipino safer. He gets sick. He cannot walk. That's why it's a serious. We need to help to the safer. He have to go into next port. Who will be responsibility of? I asked to the captain and the quarantine officer. You have to responsibility. It's safer on board. At sea, something happened. So when I asked this question, the quarantine officer and the captain agreed to bring the safer to the hospital, so we get a chance. It's a big challenge in Thailand right now at the moment.
But Thailand is one of the signatory of the MLC 2006, and within the MLC 2006, it's clearly stated that the seafarers, if you need any medical assistance, is the responsibility of the owner and the agent.
In Bangkok port, they have some problem. In my port is not a problem. Because when we have the case to handle, we send the complaint letter to the authority, and then we ask the embassy to take action. The embassy will ask the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and all the process can be done.
But how come it's functioning in Europort and it's not functioning in Bangkok port system?
Because we defend the PSC. We defend the PSC. The PSC in Bangkok is not working. It's not working sometimes. But usually when Bangkok have the case, I also help them to return the silver.
Just a second opinion. Is that also connected to shore leave?
No.
Okay.
They're not allowed.
They're not allowed to leave, that's who they has it.
Until now, we are not allowed.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, we are listening from problems right now. So you have identified 3 of them. Okay? All right. I'm sorry, Doug. Okay, did you finish?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Then we can go back. Doug, what did you mention before, please?
One problem right now, I'm assuming that we're talking about the area problem and not the chaplain problem, are we? One problem I would say is completing the information into Salesforce, because we can't solve the problem, but if the people back in the office see the problems and the repeated problems, it is their duty to start doing something at a much higher level. So educating our chaplains in putting the information into Salesforce. And I think that's, once you come to get that system, it is an important system for Stella Maris. What was I? One of the problems that is ongoing at the moment is, as I said earlier on, resourcing, getting ship visitors back, and an aging ship visiting team.
All right. But I think for us to be able to understand what you're mentioning, your first sharing, we have to wait when John talks.
Yeah.
Am I right? Then I guess we will get a better picture later, right? So let us keep your problem right now, ship visitors. Okay, let's come to the Philippines. So we begin from the left now. You can read and write.
The 2, I identified only 2.
Oh, we are asking only 3, huh? Only 3.
Picking up from where we left during the pandemic, and then financial, material, spiritual, and emotional support, and then aging staff and volunteers.
Including the leader.
No.
Wow,
Yes,
very
that's
good.
why I am left
So-
alone in the office.
So let us call the young boy now. Any addition, Father?
I think our problem in our diocese, since I always base on the report of Sister Millet, because she was there and there's no proper transition of regarding what Mrs. Stella Maris is all about. That's why I'm trying to cope with regarding what Mrs. Stella Maris, and it's because of this training I was able to understand the whole perspective of what Mrs. Stella Maris is all about. And one thing I could add is we're facing right now is we're trying to gather or to start again the previous or the members of the Stella Maris, because actually the sisters that my companion is, she doesn't even know who are the members of the Stella Maris and member. And second is the aging staff, also in our diocese, and the financial.
But I guess if you allow, Father, let us add no proper transition.
Wait.
No, you're 3 are already there.
No, I want to comment.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not that there is no proper transition, but I have all the records, but their computer was bogged down.
Okay, so until the two of you agree. Okay. Yeah, right.
As I've said, Maasin, Stella Maris is a different environment. So I work more on the families and the seafarers, vacation or waiting for their call and everything. So I have this, but it's not that. It's a domestic port, so we just started contacting the shipping lines if we could resume what we have done before the pandemic, no? So having mass before their departure or the day before their departure, no? So for that I will be working with them. I have to travel 100, more than 100 kilometers for this work, and I'm sustaining my own. You know? So I still have to ask the bishop if they could allowance for these expenses, no? Travel expenses, and then trying to introduce to the parishes, to the people about the presence of Stella Maris in our diocese, and also the services that we could offer to few seafarers in that area. So
introduce Stella Maris.
making known,
Yeah,
making known the Stella Maris apostolic in different parishes.
Well, let's not forget, right now we are looking to what are the problems you are facing. What are the problems you face now? What we are planning to do is the next. Okay? So thank you, Masing.
While these things are going on, my mind is moving. One of the things that came to my mind and this proposal is addressed to the Filipino group. Why at the end of this meeting you don't prepare a letter and you say we gather here for 3 days training and everything, blah blah blah. We understand more about the Stella Maris and we would request. So you speak about Stella Maris and everything, and in the same way you say that is an important apostolate, and you request more attention and from the part of you, Bishop, to this ministry.
So letter to the bishops.
That's something that just crossed my mind now.
Okay?
And signed by all of you. To all your bishops.
On Saturday, after we have listened to everybody, we'll have a quick workshop by nation, so we can pick up that suggestion. Okay? So thank you, Marcy, for provoking good discussion. Next. There we go. Vietnam? Not yet. Okay.
Wait.
Cebu.
Next year.
Fair enough, Father. Fair enough.
Father, your problems are yet to start, haven't
Next year.
The 3 challenges for us, I think, we still need funds.
Yes.
Funds.
Just right.
Okay. So Cebu, the Archdiocese of Cebu has 164 parishes. So 164 parishes. And we have one main port. There are sub-ports also that we have not yet reached out until this moment. So at the same time, our building is 20 years old already. So every now and then, we have to renovate and at the same time refurbish. So we need funds. But at the same time, number 2 is manpower. So manpower in the sense that I for myself is running the center. I only have 3 main staff, admin staff, 1 programs and services coordinator. The other one is the center operation, the one who is managing our center. And the third is our outsourced accounting personnel. So, but of course we have canteen, so we have other personnel. But those who augmented also, no, the responsibilities are our working students. So we have working students augmenting the responsibilities of the centers. So we have at least 9 or 10 working students. So, but with that, we need more manpower. But because of the lack of funds, I think we cannot do it right now. So hopefully with Father Paulo's creativity and his financial risk, so we can be helped of this. Of course, the third is the regulation, no? Government regulation, especially on ship visitation. Because even though that right now we can visit international vessels, but only those staff who have IDs, but we cannot easily go inside the port even though we have ID and we have all the permits, the documents. So we need to be guided by the port police. So we are not actually free in just going in and out of the international port. So I think there's still a challenge of government regulations regarding ship visitation.
thank you, Cebu.
Paolo, my head is moving. I know now the situation after pandemic has changed completely. But at least here we are talking about expenses, but in the center there are also income. And I think the dinosaur here, they know that I've already talked many times with the Philippines about this issue, that now with the pandemic, I know it might be very difficult to do it. But solidarity among the different centers in the Philippines. And the fact that some centers, they are economically sustainable and they can provide some assistance also to the other center. A few years ago, I remember I made the proposal that the center would put a certain amount of money into the national account, and with that money to help the others. I repeat, now with the situation of the pandemic, things they have changed, but that is the reality. It's necessary also to create solidarity among the different centers. Otherwise, we cannot move forward. In the past, we were saying, I think, to put 300,000, if the two centers, Manila and Cebu, they would have put 300,000 in the account of the National Stella Maris office in the Philippines, you would have enough money to support some of the different projects in the past.
How much did you put, Father? 300?
Yeah, we give our part, 150,000, I think.
Okay, 150, so there was 300,000 there.
Then Stella Maris Manila also gave, and we were caught by the Bureau of Internal Revenues.
In what sense?
How do I prove that we send money to wherever?
But the Stella Maris, the national office doesn't have, is not a corporation.
But again, apologizing for those who are not from the Philippines. We tackled this yesterday. We have to clean up. Stella Maris, I think, is Apostleship of the Sea, Philippines, Inc. That incorporation stands by itself, and we have some problems to resolve.
It's not our source corporation.
It is, but I'm not a member, I'm not a board member, so thank you for those who are. But it has to be solved because the Bureau of Internal Revenues, they will get the board members one of these days. So the money was sent, and then I had to prove to the auditor, and then I stopped. Since Stella Maris Philippines, I think we're behind submitting the reports, better we stop, because we cannot get whatever proof the money has been distributed. But regardless of that, we try. This is an idea, I guess, not only for the Philippines. This is a Stella Maris in the world. So the places where we can share or not. I have seen during pandemic, I guess, the money that we got here to distribute for the families is a sign of solidarity. Of course, pandemic is over, the charity is over. I think pandemic is finished, the charity is finished.
It's like the rosary.
More or less. We go back to what we say, my limited understanding in Tagalog. Kanya-kanya na lang. It's going to be like that. Okay? So, Father, thank you for bringing up Bruno. We put you here again for thinking. Alaminos. The three main challenges now.
For our diocese, the three main challenges we are facing now, to revive the different activities.
So I recognize sister. You say revive.
To revive the different activities.
Okay.
Then, because before we have active participation of our, let's say the SDOs, the sons and daughters of WW, there are so many volunteers, but now Number 2, to gather scattered members. To gather the scattered members. Then third, to provide assistance in time and financial. To help seafarers and fisher folks and their families. But as what Padre Bruno said, we look for solidarity of other agencies. Then for us, we look for some benefactors and sponsors who will provide or help us to find something, to give some gift giving or aid.
Okay.
Thank you.
So these are the 3 for Alaminos: revive, together the flock, and how to get assistance. So anybody has an extra cash, please send to Alaminos. Davao.
Further, with the government regulations, we will include the principal.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, right.
Government regulation and the principal, and then sustainability and recognition of Stella Maris Medicasis.
But you explain
Yeah,
also.
and coping up the new normal.
No, but explain the second one. What is your second?
Coping up the new normal.
What is your second?
Sustainability and recognition of Stella Maris Medicasis.
Recognition.
Yeah, because until now we are the diocese does not really recognize Stella Maris. So every time we request for a priest, the priest would say, "Okay, I will say the sacramentals only, but no more other talks." So this, if ever we have to say Stella Maris to the priest, or they say, we'll not talk about it. So we just did our own. And then coping up the sustainability. So this time I'm worried because I'm not receiving a salary anymore. So we spent our own. Last year, I have only 1,000 gasoline a week, but now it doubled. So with that, that is one of our, that is one of the problem that we foresee, because the gasoline and everything. But the gasoline is the most important because transportation for us is our main, we have to go to the port. And Davao is really booming with that. We have now 4 new ports. The Maersk company, they have new port. The Dolly, the Dole, Del Monte, and the Florendo company, they have new port in Panabo. That is 36 kilometers from Davao City. Antipasco is really expanding, and they are reclaiming the near sea, so they reclaim it, and it's really 100% double the previous port. Thank you.
I guess we thank Lucila for being here, but the fact that I don't know if this is the right word that I use, the fact that we do not really have a direct communication with the Archbishop of Davao, and therefore does not go back. I think Sister Joanne, you are in the same boat. It proves what you are saying. So perhaps one of the next challenges, Monsignor, it is how can we, for the foreign delegates, you see, the Philippines are not all beautiful roses, no? There are some thorns, very, very hard. We have to perhaps try to work, how can we get those 2 Stella Maris duly recognized by the official church? Because then everything in theory flows. Because you cannot even ask money right now. You are not duly, with due respect, you do not exist as such unless you put up your own corporation. So Lucila, thank you for what you are doing there. Let's see how we can go there. Okay? Father, Pompat, sandali, I skipped you on a purpose, no worries. I have an agenda, Father, please, sister.
I will just stand here, Father.
Okay?
For Stella Maris General Santos, we have the same, identified the same problem with AOS Cebu. The lack of financial and human resource. Finance and human resource. Second is just like what Father Paulo is saying. We are on the same boat with Davao. We do the shepherding of our seafarers, but we don't have permanent priests. We call on priests whenever there are ships who request for masses and others. But in terms of helping, it is us, me and Orly, under the OND Hesed Foundation. So, though this year, the Bishop of Marbel shared the Sunday collection for seafarers to the foundation for the purpose of sustaining the apostolate, but that is not still enough. Knowing that we are covering one major port, two major port in General Santos City, and two sub-ports in Sarangani province. And the work for fishers is very extensive. So with that, that is what we see. Aside from the government regulation, there is a problem in terms of recognition and the amount of work that has to be done.
Okay, thank you, Sister Guys. We have 50 minutes to finish the session. So can we try to be short and sweet? What are the three main challenges right now? Father Bompa.
For a while, Padre, I'd like to say something about Marbel. We have to recognize the diocese because they have actually yearly collections, second collections for seafarers, right, sister? And they divided it. Portion goes to their office and other portion goes to Stella Maris Philippines. So this second collection, I think, is done during the National Seafarers Day. But what will happen now when we have at the same time the celebration of the Migrant Sunday and Stella Maris National Seafarers Day?
I already said my piece 50 times. Yeah, you even make. So we acknowledge, thank you. Thank you.
Because we receive a subsidy also from the Archdiocese, only 10,000 pesos, and it came from the second collection during NSP.
I already said, in my opinion, lack of sensitivity in the Philippines to acknowledge 500,000 seafarers or 700,000 that had a day and they put all together. It might prove the understanding of the bishop when it comes to the ministry to migrants and the ministry to seafarers. But anyway, this is an internal matter. Thank you, Father. Bopat, please, short and sweet.
Yeah. I will just be standing here, Father.
One.
I have a very bad penmanship. So the first thing that we are facing now is reorganization of the organization that we have, because it becomes dormant during the pandemic, as if they were not active. So I'm calling them back because I want them to be visible.
Reorganization of what? The office, the people, the what?
Yeah, the organization, the people. Yeah. Structure, what do they call that? Because, and the second thing that we have is, our concern now is education to the people, not only the seafarers, but possible the whole of the diocese, because we want them to know and feel what is this ministry of the Stella Maris. So before the pandemic, we all to start the orientation seminar in each vicariate, and then so that we can go to the parish. But we were not able to take up because we were reprimanded by the bishop not to pursue because of the pandemic. And hopefully after this, after this National Seafarers Day, because we have already a meeting, we're planning that we have to push that through. And of course, the financial, because we cannot really move the ministry with all prayers. So no matter how we pray, we still need money to go to, we have the financial problem, because it's very difficult to move around, because even the seminar that we have, I don't know how it has to be, because I wonder if every parish will be welcoming us and feed us, and finance our meeting, which I am in doubt. So I don't know. It's very difficult to make a seminar with all prayers. We need money.
Thank you, Father Bopan.
Seafarers who need to catch up with their training and other requirements. So many seafarers are now moving up to catch up the requirements for them to go back. Many of them. Second, many seafarers who can no longer get a job due to long absence, and some are now suffering from different medical conditions. Third, how to pick up the pieces from where they left before the pandemic, meaning giving them stamina to ignite, to inspire, and above all, giving them an inspiration with our presence.
Wow, thank you, Mayor. My three are, sorry, I sent to Joy. For Manila. I get from here. How to keep serving the seafarers? Do we have to change? Do we have to redirect? Or do we have to create new programs? At least for us. Second one, common problem, financial resources. And we put also in this, right now, personally I'm worried about what is the plan B in all senses. For us, the center and personnel. We need plan B. Otherwise we shut down. It's like, all right, can we go quickly before in half an hour? The third question is, do you remember? What are the suggestions? So guys, then on Saturday we will try to put these all ideas together We will try to make a summary. Joy tomorrow is not joining us. She's going to be here to work for us, no? So thank you, Joy. But then after we listen to, for example, Glasgow is there. What is Glasgow is telling us of 100 years? Then in the afternoon we have the ITF, Manning Agency, and perhaps Amosu. After that, what do we think of having as a region? So every nation can do that. In theory, it would be nice to have the plan for the nation, the plan for the region, and we submit this. It should be like that. We should submit it to the dicastery, no? And then we live by that. It's just a dream. Because at the end of the day, we go home and I do not know how much power we have as a region. But it's okay. So can we look into the challenges? Who knows, we can help each other. Three challenges. If we did,
Three suggestions.
fine, 3 suggestions, okay. 3 suggestions.
Network.
I will begin here in the middle. I divide the house. But Father John, sorry, we go ladies first. Okay, so please. You can mention, no problem. If you have any challenge, you can mention. Or suggestion. For the region. Oh, short and sweet, huh?
One is that in our previous group dynamics, we also mentioned about networking.
Networking.
Yes.
Okay.
So create directories for us to strengthen the networking.
Okay. So the challenge of networking. System.
To be more prompt in providing data needed by the Stella Maris office.
To do what?
Prompt.
Update our
Updating mga datas.
Update as prompt means on time. On time.
Okay, okay. For the region, okay. Okay, we go like this, then we go to another one. Just one each. Father Bompa, what can we do in the region?
We have to be creative and resourceful.
Like
Depend.
what? Like what?
Like for example.
This is very specific. This is very doable.
Yeah. I said, for example, the resourcing of funds.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have. We do not totally depend on the provision of the top.
Okay.
If we can have our own.
Okay,
fundraising.
Set common time for meetings. Common time. Set common time. For meeting, Zoom meeting, for members to familiarize each other with the network.
Okay. Meetings.
Yes, I go with the regular meetings.
Okay. So that everybody has opportunity. Yes. Kagaya de Oro, any suggestion?
Training will serve as a kick-off. This training.
Training.
Is just started, and then more collaborations, linkages is there, networking, and of course regular meeting.
Later, 1 minute. Doug, any suggestion? No. Edwin?
I have the same here, it's already there.
Okay.
Continuous sharing of information. Updating. Same.
Okay, then we go to you guys. Sister Melly? Father?
I would like to suggest like the World Day of the Migrant and Refugee Sunday, we need something Sunday in the world as acknowledged all Catholic Church, and that we can fundraise or because the second Sunday in July is the 6th Sunday but in South Korea, no one knows about Six Sunday, and I know in Philippines you have national Six Sunday, but it's only Philippines. Something in the world we. Yeah.
We will call on Father Bruno later. Okay, Father, thank you for that. Opinion? Any suggestion for the region? One?
Yes, I think is in some countries have problem with work with the government. So it means if some countries not have power to work with the government, maybe the Holy See has power. It should be have official letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in each country that what Stella is working for and how we help the seafarer, how we help our academics, so that when each country know about the Stella list, and we can work hard with the government, and we should know the size of trafficking also by training the port chaplain about size, because the trafficking is hot issue in the world. If we can help the government to work in this issue, they will welcome us. And also training port chaplain and the seafarer too, because we have seafarer or fishermen missing at sea a lot. Within 2-3 years, in my case, in Thailand, the fishermen missing 235 persons. But we don't know is accident or forced labor or forced to missing. That's why if the seafarer know about the safety protection, it means he can looking for the property of the owner also. If the owner get benefit from our training, they will become us. Then we can work hard
So
with them.
what is your suggestion?
I suggest
Training.
I suggest introduce Stella list in every country first, and work hard with the government and trainings.
Training is here.
Yes.
Okay. Coco. Any suggestion?
I like to suggest about our logo. When we wear the T-shirt of Stella Maris, our logo, when we walk going inside the boat, when we face with the government authorities, they have to know about what the Stella Maris doing serving for the seafarer all over the world. I'm not meaning in Thailand. Just see the Stella Maris logo. These people is working for who? They should be understand. We have to grow up our Stella Maris. We have to announce to the world. It is a sign of the Stella Maris what we are doing. Government agency should be paid. How do you say? They should be understood to us what we are doing. Not so difficult to go into how to say making the cases enter the port or whatever. We are not doing it. We are follow all the protocol, follow all the ISPS what government doing. So that's the one thing that I think.
Father Kim?
My suggestion is possible from Vatican to write a letter to every bishop in the world. Talk about Stella Maris.
But I'm
clear about ask them to take care and also
by myself, I'm not talking about the bishop. Bishop just only click to the how to say the chaplain is going there. In my center, my protocol is a chaplain is come there 6 months, 4 months, and then go again. Bishop thing. So you don't want to talk about the bishop.
No, but these are suggestions that we will see which ones are doable. So you can suggest anything. It doesn't matter now.
1 minute.
Yes.
I think the bishop don't know us our work because of us. If we send reports every month what we are doing, how many person we have, what we are visit to the bishop every month, bishop know everything as I did in Thailand. When I spend the money, the end of the month when father retreat, I go and please audit my accounting, please audit. How we have the people, 6 month report we give to the bishop. He will know everything. The problem is you, it's not bishop.
Okay?
Sorry.
So, but anyway, that is the purpose, suggestion. We suggest according to our challenges. But we have different backgrounds, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, we're different. Huh? Father John, look at me. You are looking, I know, I saw that. Please, Father, another suggestion more?
I think it's already reported, no? But although I recognize that we still, of course, lack funds, but I suggest that a regular monthly and quarterly meeting for updates and sharing of ports, best practices, to even sharing of resources. So I can still share our resources.
Thank you.
You can share your resources to me, to Cebu.
We can only share what we have.
And then,
Information.
Okay, guys, this is not, please, this is just a general suggestion. Just like, you know the shopping list? You know shopping list? There we are.
Yes.
Father,
Ladies first.
you are mentioning about professionalizing the ministry. Father Bruno. I think it is high time to professionalize.
How? In what way?
You are talking about human resource. Why not train people and pay people according who will be doing the job but managed or supervised by the chaplains?
Okay, so I guess that is the real bottom line. But anyway, freedom. Did you raise your hand?
I raise my hand.
Do we allow him to talk? Or
Yes.
Okay, talk. They said yes. Me? No.
Right. We meet, or a delegation, some individuals in this room have met the Pope. We give him a high-vis jacket, we give him a bottle of whiskey, we'll give him something that represents. Why don't we give him a letter that says, can you read this, please?
The problem is that he's not going to read it.
Okay, so
It's suggestion.
suggestion. This is a shopping list, so let us welcome any suggestion. Okay, thank you. John, no? Read John, no? So, letter to the Pope. Okay, Father Bruno?
No, you right.
What does he do with the high-vis jacket, I wonder?
We come back to the office.
All right. Okay, guys.
I would like to reiterate, we need to have strong ties with government.
Yes. We get back to my office. That's the point.
Strong ties with
Okay, guys. Let us repeat it. It is a shopping list for the region. So I guess it's a nice exercise because we can see what can we copy from other places that perhaps are doing better than us. So there is nothing wrong to copy what is right. Yeah, the problem is when you copy what is wrong. So basically, these are the ideas of networking, updates, funds, meetings, trainings, Sunday dedicated to the seafarers. Thinking of the Vatican, I think it's next to impossible, but miracles do happen, but it's all right. Cooperate with the government, the logo, and sharing of resources. In our region, I think we can say this on Saturday, but we always ask, can you send your report so we share? Who does send a report, Joy? Who?
Sent the report. Almost everybody has sent the report.
See? So that is a way we can see how we can share. No, it doesn't matter if it is your language. It doesn't matter. It is nice to see the picture of anybody personally. Your pictures, Father. I cannot understand your language yet, or Rapinia in you, Coco for Thailand, but we see something is going on, or Japan, or it is going on. So perhaps you can take it as a challenge. We prepare reports. Why don't we share? It encourages us. Am I right?
Yes.
It encourages us. We can see, wow. Then the network goes on. Any addition here? Yes, Father.
Yeah, and another thing is, I think is very important too. In the, for example, in the diocese, we have the clergy meeting. Let us be insistent to do report what we are doing. Because
Father, that is for the diocese. This is for the region.
Yeah.
The region.
Over the region.
Region. So we can keep it a suggestion for us in the Philippines. And that is, to me, very nice. But we are thinking of the region.
More trainings, especially on maritime laws.
Now you are specific. Okay. Who? Yes.
With the network, maybe we can put open line communication with FB or what, so that we can post
Social media.
social media.
Create social media.
No, but here, okay, the social media, my suggestion. Let us learn how to cross posting. We just go. I do not have FB account. I don't. I have a face but no book. All right. But the famous cross posting, you just send to everybody what we do without posting anywhere. Everybody sees and we see. Perhaps, Father, outgoing and incoming chaplain for the Philippines, you guys do it. I don't know you, Edwin, but perhaps we should put special attention on social media. Without inventing a new FB, etc., etc. We just do cross-posting. It works. Among us. Okay? And then I'm sorry, sister, I'm not mentioning the entire Stella Maris network, because then from here we have to go to whatever addresses that are there. We connect everybody. But first we have to fix our house. Then we can invite others to the house. Sorry, I cut somebody. Yes, please.
Just a word of caution in posting in the social media. We have to be aware of the Data Privacy Act of the Philippines, particularly in the Philippines, that we have to have consent of all those who are present in our photos before we post it on the social media, or else we will be caught flat-footed.
That's what I'm saying, sister. If ever we take up that option, we have to be responsible. But I think better word, properly educated according to the local laws.
Yes.
Because we can be sued. So that's why we will not enter into the details right now. We will see what can be done. John, did you?
I had it. My name's on the left-hand side. I can't remember why.
Because this is the third is proposals for the region. You come from a different region. We welcome you. If you have anything to share, we'll be happy.
Okay, so I think as one chaplain or person, we have a small voice, but by speaking, that solidarity, by speaking as one as a region, I think that's to me, I think it would be important to develop sharing the information and using it, having the information and sharing it is great. There's using the information as well. I think that's where you can add a lot of value to what you're doing.
Or we give ourselves 5 minutes, then we break, prepare for the mass agenda. I think we have gone quite far. If we look into what we said, the needs that we identified, number 1, our challenges on the second one, and this one, we are not far, huh? We are quite on track. But where were we during pandemic? Then we journey to challenges right now. These are our dreams. I guess we pick up 2 or 3 of these as a region, and we try to go on. Any other comment? Any other suggestion? No more. So,
Other business.
sorry?
Other business. Other business.
Like?
Just to acknowledge Apina, who was awarded by the United States of America as a hero for traffic persons. She was just awarded by the USA government. Just an acknowledgement because she is Stella Maris.
We also did on the first day, and we are planning to do it one of the masses, but it's all right. As somebody put opinion, hopefully all of us Stella Maris chaplains could be mentioned by any organization. You are the one, thank you for that, because you have brought the logo of Stella Maris very high. So thank you for that. And I will be very honest, opinion, I do not envy you. Too many headaches, too many. But it's okay. You have the courage and the guts. No guts, no glory. Okay? No guts, no glory. Okay now? So we can break, 6 o'clock, we return for the mass.